particular day when I came back, I had my purse on my arm. I was ready to walk out, and the teacher stopped me. Miss Clemons, please, Miss Clemons, think about what you're doing. Miss Clemons, what are we going to do? And of course, I had some choice words. I don't give a fat rat what you do. I don't care. I'm tired of this, person, and that person can do whatever, the doodle, all of that. I was Miss Clemens. You can't. What are we gonna do?
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of your favorite teacher's favorite teacher podcast. I am excited to start off Season 2 with, like, even though when I first started education, they assigned me a mentor, this woman has been like my mentor from day one, Mrs. Barbara Clemons. And still to this day, like any questions that I have about educations, anything that like anytime that I feel down and out, I know that I can turn to Miss Clemens and she'll always give me words of wisdom. Before I even turn the mic over to you to introduce yourself to the audience, I just want to start this podcast off by giving you, Miss Clemens, your flowers because
Thank
you
you.
have been like a driving force in my career
Thank
by
you.
guiding me and putting me on the path that I'm on as an educator.
Thank you.
So thank you. And without further ado, I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Miss Clemens, and tell the audience about who you are, how long you've been doing education, and let them know like what you're doing right now.
Okay. Hi, my name is Barbara Clemens, and I am a retired teacher after 40 years in the educational field. I also coached for 22, 23 years of that, and I have enjoyed it tremendously. 40 years, and due to the pandemic, I went back to work a long-term sub as an inclusion teacher. Um, some things changed, but a lot of it didn't change, and I enjoyed that. And this year, so I've been back 2 years. This year, the long-term sub, but I was in this program called Elevate, and it was in ES in English, which I really enjoyed. And I left there midway the semester, and then they moved me into science, and I did some things in that as well. Next year, the principal asked me to come back as an instructional pair. So I work at a ninth grade campus. I work at a ninth grade campus. I'm still not going to call parents. Um, I did have to do grades, but because the teacher had left, so that wasn't an issue for me. I'm a very strict disciplinary, as Mr. Stubblefield knows. I stay true to form. Same way that I am in the beginning, I'm the same way in the end. I do develop relationships with the students, and that's always important that you do develop relationships because you have to get to know your students. Otherwise, you're going to bomb out if you don't. Where you can talk very firm to some students you can't approach them like that. And so therefore you have to learn your students. Okay, guys, I also want to let you know that I am a published author and I'm a first-time author. And the title of my book is Get Ready, Get Set, Organize. And it's an interactive notebook guide that kind of takes you through and how to build a notebook for your students. And what I have learned, even after I've done the book, is just to let you know there is no right or wrong way in doing an interactive notebook for your students.
So what we're going to do here in this first part is we're going to jump into the section that I call the journey. And in the journey, I'm going to have Miss Clemens talk about her journey from the beginning all the way to her current day as an educator. So you have the floor, Miss Clemens.
I was born and raised in Austin, Independent School District. I graduated from high school. I know I'm telling my age in 1972. Uh, it was rough, as I explained to Mr. Stubblefield, during that time during desegregation. Um, it was, I don't want to say it was an adventure, but it was an experience that some people never have had the chance to go through. But some of the things that you did see on TV about segregation, it really do happen. Um, but I had some loving parents that always encouraged me um, to push through, and I got through. But it was. I often wonder why are we hated, or why is a person hated for their color? Because, God created us all, and he did not make us all the same. But with that, people just didn't. I graduated from John H. Reagan High School in Austin, Texas. And that particular year, everybody held two positions. It was a black uh, president of the class, it was a white one. Everything in the school, whatever organization you were in, I was a cheerleader. And we had the captain. I was a captain, the black captain. And we had a white captain, Margie Knipper. How do I remember her name? It's just some things you don't forget. It was really, really rough. For a while. We wore someone else's uniform, except for the bottoms, and we only made our bottoms. But my name was Brenda on the back for a long, long time. Yeah, and but you persevered, and some of my other friends, they struggled. It was hard to cheer like they cheered. We just didn't do that, because we had to shake it, and don't break it, so it was a different type of style that we was used to. But for me, it was just easy. Some things just come easy for people, and but I persevered. Standing on the street, there was no edge. It was just the cement and the grass. And we used to stand in the cold, dead winter, buses passing by, 60 students on a 40 passenger bus.
Mm.
And you had to ride. That was morning, we would knock on the people's doors and say, can we please stand in your house until our bus comes? They rocked us going to school. They rocked us coming from school. It was just, it was just always a duck and cover, get under the seats in the bus. You know, um, you're the only African American in the classroom. They either set you in the front or they set you in the back. And if you raised your hands, they wouldn't call on you. If you didn't raise your hand, they would call on you. It was always everything was always embarrassing. Our lockers were just in the deepest part of the school in a dark area where it wasn't lit, and we packed our books all day long because you just didn't go. You go into the restrooms, and the word nigger and lipstick was wrote on the mirrors, and you knew not to ever go back into that. But I persevered and got through, and I went off to school. Um, so my journey began, and I graduated Bachelor of Science in Health and Physical Education from Texas Southern University.
That's you.
From there, my first 2 years out of school, I worked for Parks and Recreation. And from there, I don't know, I wanted to teach. Why, I don't know. I just wanted to teach. I really wanted to coach. I didn't care about the teaching part. I just wanted to coach. So I ended up getting a job being a PE teacher and a coach. You had to do, if you did one, the other one came, and if you did the other, then the other came. So I did that. My first teaching job was in Aldine Independent School District here in Houston, and Aldine Junior.
Okay.
So then I left there, and I opened up Grantham Middle School. And after that, I moved to San Antonio, where I coached and taught PE there. And I was in charge of the junior varsity cheerleaders, junior varsity cheerleaders, pep squad, and the drill team. I did a lot, but I was young then and I can handle it. And then I moved back to Houston, where I taught honors government at MacArthur High School, and I opened up the ninth grade campus at MacArthur. I got out of coaching, left there, went to Stellick, and from Stellick I went to Hoffman, and then from Hoffman I spent my years there, and I retired. And then the pandemic came along when I was at Hoffman, and now I'm back. So I'm, like I said, met Mr. Stubblefield, came to Hoffman. Um, Once you've been through the Hoffman Stand and Deliver, Lean on Me has
Yeah.
nothing. You can get through that one. You are going to be an awesome teacher.
Yeah.
So, and then that's just pretty much, and of course, accolades came along throughout the years, the different things that I accomplished, and one thing that I did accomplish, and it goes into my best days,
Mhm.
I became teacher of the year. But the most thing, the last test they took me for a Star Wars cost test
Oh
that they
yeah.
had, all of my students, when I say all, that's all, that means the low performing speds and you name it, gifted, all of them passed that state mandated test. And that was such an awesome. I was it wasn't so much I was proud of me. I was proud of my students because look what they did. And that was such an awesome thing to experience. And then I became ranked in the top 10 social studies teacher for the district, and I ranked number 4. So
Awesome.
that has been one of the best days for me in my whole teaching career.
Yeah, and you talk about briefly about one of your best days as an educator, which is going to bring us to our next section, which is called the yin and the yang.
Okay.
So in the yin and yang, what you're going to do, Ms. Clemons, is you're going to talk to the audience about your best day as an educator and your worst day as an educator. And to keep it positive, like I like to have the guests begin with what was their worst day as an educator, and then, talk about their best day, because then we can finish it off on a happy note. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'll turn the mic over to you. Talk to the audience about your worst day as an educator and your best day as an
Okay. So my worst day, I won't say ever, but for me at that time, it was the worst day. And I've had a lot of principals over the years. I had this one particular principal. Sometimes some people just don't like you.
Mhm.
But when they don't like you, they go out of their way to disrupt you and make things bad. Well, this one particular principal had to go to a principal meeting, but she had to take her team leader / department chair with her. And the department chair was to introduce an activity that they do well in the class, blah, 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 blah. So I was asked to go, which surprised me. And I went, and there was just room full of, because it was middle school and high school teachers and principals there.
Mhm.
So they explained to what they wanted us to do. And so she, come on, go ahead. No, come on, go first. And I'm looking like, no, you know how that was like. And she was loud. I'm like, oh my God. So another teacher and a principal that went and stuff. So come on, you go second. I said, okay. So I stood up. And so I introduced myself and what I taught and, the school I was at and my principal, blah, 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 blah. So when I started explaining the activity that we do in our social studies department in history, I wasn't even 2 minutes into the presentation. Oh, we know that. Sit down. Yeah. And
What?
so, yeah. So I kind of looked and smiled. Everybody's chuckled. And I tried to continue, explaining. Oh, we know that. Come on, your time is up. You didn't say it enough. I said, it's okay, guys. And I was already embarrassed. It's okay, guys. She does that all the time. So if there are any questions or something you're not sure about, I get a chance to really finish, you can contact me, my email, blah, blah, blah. Just call me and blah, blah, blah. Now, I can come out to your school or explain to you how it goes. If I tell you, Mr. Stubblefield, I was so embarrassed and so hurt. And thank the Lord we went in separate cars. I got in that car and booed all the way back to campus. But this led up to some other things that she had done and said, like when she came into an IB school and she asked, it was a department chair meeting, who in this room has all had all the training for IB? So of course I started raising my hand. Oh, put your hand down. They talking to you. I'm like, okay. And so when I got back to school, I was livid. Ooh, ooh, I just can't begin. And even to this day, I get very emotional behind that person because I went through so much behind that to the point where when I help someone, I would say to them, please don't let this particular principal know that I help you, because if you do, she will not let you do this anymore, or she won't ask you for this anymore. Just please don't let her know. Please, whatever you do. But that particular day when I came back, I had my purse on my arm. I was ready to walk out, and the teacher stopped me. Miss Clemons, please, Miss Clemons, think about what you're doing. Miss Clemons, what are we going to do? And of course, I had some choice words. I don't give a fat rat what you do. I don't care. I'm tired of this, person, and that person can do whatever, the doodle, all of that. I was Miss Clemens. You can't. You can't. What are we gonna do? Because when times got bad, it was really talking to me. Times got bad, and you was there. You didn't make us. You didn't let us give up on. You found a way. You helped us through this. You pushed us through this. You cannot. We can't stand when I mean, they were just, and I was like, I stopped and I was just looking and so amazed at like what? What do you mean? Like, because I'm just thinking that, they could get through this, they could stand. But I just had enough. I didn't go to a meeting to be embarrassed. And even leaving the meeting, a couple of people came up to me and said, Miss Clemens, we are so sorry that you had to go through that. Apologize. So you don't have to apologize. It's okay. And I just kept saying it. I said, she's just like that. She does that and that. But she was one of the worst principal that I have ever had. I've had some bad ones, but she was the worst. Like, she talked about all the teachers, and like when you walk away, if you and I was talking to her, if you walked away, she said bad things about you, ugly things while using language. And if I walked away, she would do the same. She was like that with everybody, but I yeah. And that was the one. First of all, I told you I had to pray that prayer.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I had just had enough. It was like I see her coming, I would just stop and go the other way. If I saw her down one hall, I walked all the way around another hall. I avoided this person at all costs, and I just even now talking to you about it, I'm emotional. You can't see my eyes or anything, but and somebody said, "Girl, you ain't gotten over that." I said, "It's not a fact. That's my testimony to everybody."
Yes,
And that's when I've learned after that, stick with it, stay with it. It will get better. It seems bad, but in your worst, and I tell people in your worst days, in your worst days, stand because we were built for this. Every day is not going to be a good day. Uh, Even in your worst day, it's going to be a good day because when we get through it, it would be a better day because I learned a lot uh, from that experience, but I would never ever treat anybody the way because Mrs. Stubblefield, you never know what a person has to endure just to get to work in the morning. We don't know how many teachers are struggling. Some of our teachers may just be living on a dollar, and we don't know what it takes to be kind to that person, just to strengthen them. I'm sorry, I apologize.
no, you're good.
But that person right there, I just won't ever forget. And how I had to beg people, please don't let that person know I helped you. Please don't let that person know what I've done to help you get us. And when you shine, I shine. God knows. And you don't have to thank me, but just be the best that you can be. Like, that's why I say I'm not a great teacher standing on my own. I'm only great because of people that I have met and that have helped me get to where I am. I shine only because they have stood back and allowed me to shine. Every part of me is a part of every teacher that I have ever come in contact with. Even the bad made me good because I know, that just doesn't work. They just don't know or they don't have that skill, and that's fine. They were given an opportunity, but it just doesn't work for me. So, but that was one of the worst.
Mhm.
How do you take somebody in your building and you stand before people and make them feel worthless. And then people in the building the people at the meeting had to come and apologize because they knew how that person is. And to this day, I don't like Mickey Mouse. I don't like Minnie Mouse. You can't give me a Mickey. And I don't know if you know who that is, who that person is. I don't want to say in the podcast,
No.
but we, yeah, we're gonna get some bad because I didn't have to write a report. I didn't have to file the griefs because the Lord allowed me to present,
Yes,
to
ma'am.
write those grants. I stood on a very high stage. And then when the Lord allowed me to get the honors of being ranked the top 10 in the district,
Yes, ma'am.
um, and ranked fourth, that principal came and congratulated me. At the time, I didn't even know what it was, why she was congratulating me. She didn't know until she got to the meeting. So that was enough for me. That was, you know, but I know I kind of went off the rail there.
No, no, that's
That was
that's
one
actually
of my
perfect.
that was one of my worst ever.
Well,
You know,
and I
I didn't do it a
definitely
whole year of that.
that's crazy. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, that's as sad as it is. Like I do want the audience to know these stories, to understand that uh, there is more to education than dealing with the students that sit in front of us and us trying to
right,
transfer that knowledge over to them. There's the other side. There is the adult
right,
side
right.
of education, and there was a study that I read that talked about the people leaving this profession. They're not leaving the profession because of the students. They're
Yes,
it's because
exactly.
of the being supported. It's because of the groups that they are, the teams that they are a part of,
Right, right, right,
the other adults in the building that make education what it shouldn't be.
right,
Like
right, right.
our focus as educators should be on the students.
It should be.
And the fact that you had to endure that, uh,
You were there when I was going through some of it.
yeah, yeah,
But I don't know if you knew then how bad it affected me.
no, ma'am.
I
Well,
took every day as it
and
was and tried to be the
here's
best.
here's what you and this is a credit to you, like, and I think this is one of the more important aspects of this podcast is like we don't know what the other teacher's going through, just like you said. You
Right,
know, we live in a lot of people live in their own bubble, going through their
right.
own struggles. And whenever I had anything bad going on, I knew I could always turn to you and you would help to brighten my day, not
Thank you.
understanding the issues that you were going through. And I apologize because
It's okay.
I was just in my own little world,
Right,
trying to make it day to day,
right.
not realizing because every time I went to you, you had a smile on your face, or um, I did see some days that you were down and out, and I tried to tell you the truth, I felt like coming to you to try to comfort you, like who am I to do something like that? You're Miss Clemons. Like you are that teacher. And for this young kid to come in and try and
I appreciate it.
be there, like you know, but
I just felt like I just felt like whatever I was going through was not important for me to bring anybody down with. So I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer.
no, you weren't.
So I had to put that face on to keep everybody strong,
And that,
But I went home almost every day crying. I couldn't wait to get to my car, even though I used to put in some late hours and stuff.
yes,
But
I remember that. You were
yeah,
always the first one in, last one out.
yeah, pretty much. So I just had to persevere and get through it. Each day was different. And I just had to persevere and get through it. But those 2 years that that person was there, it was horrible.
I'm sorry you were.
Because when I introduced myself to that person, she told me who I was. Oh yeah, you're Barbara Clemons. You were the teacher of the year. Yeah, yes, ma'am. I was. I was. Yeah. So it's bad to say hate, and I don't hate her, but things about her, I just did. I mean, I've seen her since I've retired.
Mhm.
I went back over to the school for something, and she was there,
Mm.
just giggling and laughing and smiling, and just all I could do was say hello, how you doing? Good to see you. And that was it, because I won't say never, but I don't want to have anything to do with that person or work with that person with on or nothing. If I had to, I'll get through it. But yeah,
Yeah. Once again,
yes, but
once
the
again,
ooh,
I'm
yes.
truly sorry that
Ooh,
you went
oh,
through
no,
that.
that was fine. And in being in this, and you're getting a taste of it now. Um, in your educational journey, you're going to come up with a wall that you seem like you cannot climb. But I tell people every day, chop at the bit. You know how you keep at it, you keep at it. That wall will crumble and it will come down because we as individuals we are bigger and better than that wall that stands before us.
Yeah.
You know, so it is a thing. They're saying pick yourself up. I tell my students all the time, especially young ladies, straighten up, put your chest out and straighten up your crown. It's crooked. Look at it here. Straighten up that crown and get it okay. Where's the smile? All right, Nick. All right. Now do good to be good. That was what am I saying? You do good to be good.
Wow.
Okay. Now move on. Go to class. You okay? And that encouraging. Yes, ma'am. I will. And you move on and just yeah. It's hard getting up though. Like how a drunk person try to stand up and they stumble right. Boom! I hit that floor again. Oh Lord, Lord help me to stand. Again. Whoo, whoo, the room moving. But somehow we get up and we get through it. And we
It's
get through it. Yeah.
so amazing. And it's through God's glory that we are able to do this.
Yes, yes, yes. And when I said Jesus take the wheel, huh? Woo,
He drove you back to the school after that meeting
yeah,
that
Lord,
day.
I had to pull my oh, listen,
Ooh.
by the grace of God that I made it through. I haven't. It was if you ever get in a beehive or if you get stung by that one bee, it didn't matter how you swatted it off. That sucker kept popping you left, right.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, yeah, that's how I felt every day, and then I started praying, Lord, and I didn't understand it until that person came along. That helmet of salvation, that breastplate,
Mm.
yeah, I had to go in with all of that.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I had to do some high point. My knees were sore because I had to pray off it. Sometimes days I would go in the bathroom and just pray, Lord, when I walk out, please don't let me see her. Yes, I could just have some peace. I was so glad when I was always in a corner, as opposed to like being some. Yeah, that was it. That was the worst. It should have been capital letters. The word worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was. It was that whole time that person was there. It was just ugly. It was, but I
Mm.
got through, and with God's grace and mercy, I thank Him for that. Yeah.
Yes, man.
So a better day.
Let's talk
Of
about it.
course, my better grade. Ta-da! Of course, when all of my students, and I say that with capital letters, passed the state mandated test. It was like I was going through and I was checking them off, and I kept, And it was two other teachers in the room, and it was kind of, oh, so and so didn't pass, and they said, well, Clemens, you awful quiet. So I kind of turned away from them and was moving over in the corner. I'm like, something is wrong. I kept flipping through the pages. I'm like, something ain't right. Well, let me go through it again. I took out my roster. I started going into this. I surely, and I'm thinking, oh, I know this student did. This student got a bip. He got all kinds of stuff going on and extra this and that. I'm like, Then I went across the hall and knocked on the special ed door, and I'm like, y'all, so and so, the student, he's in special ed, right? He said, Miss Clemens, you do the paperwork. I said, okay. And I go back and I just out. And they said, well, Clemens, I said, well, it looks like all of them passed, but something's wrong. I still didn't believe it. And then when it came down the pike, it did. But you know what? That one principal I told you about,
Yes, ma'am.
it never got announced. And not that it was about announcing that Miss Clemens did anything. I wanted the school to know that those students
Right.
did good, but it never, never, never got announced or said, or even in a meeting or anything. And that was like she's not even proud of her own students. Like
Wow.
in that, but that was okay. But so when God allowed me to get ranked, make the best top 10 teachers in the district and fourth, yeah, that was enough thanks for me. So I was happy with that. Yeah, so
But
that was one of my best days.
well, and that's also a message to administration. If you're listening to this podcast as well, um, administration has to understand
Celebrate
that
your teachers.
yes, you have to.
Celebrate them.
Like you
Yeah.
have to. The one of the things that the military taught me as a leader, you will be blamed for all of the
Uh-huh.
mistakes, and all of the celebration always has to go to your troops whenever something goes right. And the thing is like I've always looked at education in a lens of a Marine, and I've always seen like your admin being those officers,
Uh-huh.
your like instructional coaches being your staff NCOs, your teachers being
Right.
those people who your leaders who lead the troops, and the troops being the students.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so, like, whenever anybody below that officer does something, that officer needs to look at those leaders, those staff NCOs, and say, that success happened because of them. Those
Mm-hmm.
troops, that success happened because of them.
They make you
And
look good.
well, that's and that's the part that I don't get since I've been in education. Like I understand that administration, and I've had a peek behind the curtain when I went to get my certification as administration, and I saw it. Like I understand the stressors that they go through as well, but a lot of that stress can be mitigated if you focus on making the lives of those educators better by
Exactly.
recognizing them,
Right.
by saying, "Hey, you have an accomplishment," because that accomplishment that you had, Miss Clemens,
Mm-hmm.
that is not a common occurrence.
It's
Like
not. It's not.
you,
I mean, I'm not bragging or anything,
no, you're not.
but
So, like for that not to be recognized,
right.
that's an
Right.
injustice. That's an injustice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and this actually leads or segues into the next portion of the podcast. Your favorite teacher's favorite teacher. Because the teachers are those leaders that influence and affect us.
Right.
A lot of us are who we are because of the teachers that have affected us. And at this point, Ms. Clemens, what I'd like to do is turn the microphone over to you and let you talk about any teachers that have influenced you in a positive or negative way throughout your life. So
Okay.
you got the floor.
Okay, so you know the negative that I had, which was one of
Hmm.
the worst, was part of my negative. Um, you, you know that our job is not easy, but it was one teacher, and I do think that you do remember her as well, and
Okay.
that was Miss Edens.
Oh yeah.
She
Yeah.
was our department chair. That lady can make the worst feel good. When when we didn't do well on an assessment,
Hmm.
say like if I made a 64 on an assessment, but the next time we met, I did 65, 67. She glorified that. She,
Hmm.
Miss Clemons' class came up 2 points. We are so excited for her. Blah blah. You know, it's like she didn't let the failure, or even if we dropped, she still said, well, we dropped a little bit, but they didn't drop a lot. So we just need to make sure that we can get back where we were, or let's get high. She didn't dog us out for that. She celebrated us. Um, she always found a solution. She like lesson plans, like she would get that done for us, or if one of us would get it done early, then it just got copied to everybody. But you had to go in and tweak it because say on that day you might do vocabulary and I'm doing something else. You had to make sure that the lesson plans fit for what you were doing for that week. So she was really, really one of the best teachers or slash department chairs that I have ran into as well. So yeah,
And I
I'm real still excited. In my book, she is mentioned in my book. There was several people that I didn't mention. I don't know if you remember Miss Shelton. She taught biology. She hung with Miss Kenyatta. Oh, I didn't go by that, but she hung with Miss Edens all the time. She was
okay.
a science teacher.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Presley.
yeah.
Presley. Her
Presley.
name's Presley.
Yes, yes, I do
Yeah,
remember.
that was she was my militant person. She protect you at any cost. She was ready to go whoop a person.
She
Like you
did.
gonna be
She
not,
was.
like once you found a friend in her, she was a true friend. And
She
I can
was good
appreciate
people.
that.
She was
Yeah.
definitely good people.
Yeah.
Well, uh I will try and reach out to Miss Edens and see if I can get her on the podcast, but I will definitely make sure that I send a copy of this episode to her so that
Okay.
because and like I said before, man, we do not uh we don't give people their flowers
We don't.
enough, you
We
know.
don't.
And I I know and in knowing Miss Edens too, like I'm sure to
She's a
hear that
principal
come from
now.
you. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, she's Dr. Edens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last I heard she was over at HISD.
Yeah.
Um,
Woo, pray for
you know,
them.
oh yeah.
Woo, yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Ooh, I
yes,
want to
yes.
be there.
I'm gonna try and see if I can get some more connections to those teachers out in HISD and get them on the
But
podcast
you
as well.
can't be mad at Mike Miles,
Hmm.
really, because Mike Miles is doing what the state
I know,
tells him to do.
I know,
That's where his paycheck is coming
I know.
from. Like, yeah, if he said go in and sweep this out, like, he's gonna have to tell a whole bunch of stories and untruths, but he's gonna do what the state say do. Because hey, because if he don't get it done, what they gonna do? Set him down and send somebody else in line. It's just I understand the people's frustration.
Hmm.
Well, they're going to the meeting voicing their opinion to Mike Mom, but that's just going in one ear and out the other. So go up, take the trip up to the state and
Yes,
going,
ma'am.
yeah, to the cap. That when they see people lining up at Capitol all the time, and which I know that's hard to do because people got jobs and all that kind of stuff. But going in, they fussing at Mike Mom in one ear and out the other. It ain't changed a thing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So with that, we're coming to the end of the podcast. Um, we're gonna go into a section that was formerly a word or a phrase, but now I'm changing this up to a talk to the public. And on this part of the podcast, I'm going to turn it over to you, Miss Clemens, and I'm going to let you have the floor to have that conversation with the parents and the public of individuals that don't see what we see as
Right.
educators on a day-to-day basis, and just
Right.
talk to them and let them know, your thoughts and your feelings about what it is and what it means to be an educator servicing their students over these past 40 years
Yeah.
as an educator, and let them know because, like I say, even in the beginning, as somebody who wanted to be an educator, like I had this vision of what it meant to be an educator, and when I came in, it was totally different. And I'm sure
Right,
parents and the people in public, like they have no clue. So
right.
I just want you to take a few minutes and talk to them about what it is for you as an educator over these past 40 years.
Okay, so I wrote down a few things, and if I could just read this,
Yes, ma'am.
what I was jotting down. It says being an educator is an important job for 45 or 90 minutes. For that 45 or 90 minutes, I am responsible for molding the minds of individuals. I try to equip students with the necessary tools to succeed and foster an environment where young minds can grow and explore their potential, which means I try to lay down the groundwork for innovation in learning. I try to meet them where they are and build on what they know or what they need to know. I must figure out where they are, their weakness, and their strengths, and build on that. I have to ignite a spark of curiosity within my students, and I am an advocate for my students' success, recognizing their potentials and encouraging them to reach high. That's what I do. But I want to read something else to you just in ending this. And I
Yes, ma'am.
did this at Kaufman. Um, and I think I've been doing this for a while now.
Yes, ma'am.
And I did this with my seventh and eighth graders. And it's their pledge as being an IB student or their pledge toward graduation. It says, I am the future. I won't let anything stand in my way. My eyes are on the prize, and they will stay that way. I've got self-respect and a whole lot of pride. I won't let you or anything pull me down into a negative stride, down a dead end street where only trouble lies. That's not the way to keep my eyes on the prize. I will teach you, and you will teach me. We'll exchange information on how to be the best we can be, not anything less. It's not material things that make us who we are. It's not the job, not the money, nor the status size. That's only monetary pleasure, not a valuable prize. Honesty and truth rank high on my list. Caring and respect for others help me to exist. I will do my best to protect those who came before me, who struggled and fought so that I would have a chance to listen and be taught. I will use my imagination and try to be aware as I look and wonder what the future will be. So each day, I will take the time to remind myself that I'm young, I'm positive, I am the future, and I will keep my eyes on the prize.
All right. So the last part of it, what we're gonna do is we are going to let the audience know like where they can find you, or
Okay.
even better, I want you to close out with talking about your book, where they can purchase your book, and your email address so that they can get in contact with you. Let them know about if they want to, how they can get in contact with you if they want to have you come over there and give any presentations or speak at their schools.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So my book title is Get Ready, Get Set, Organize. So that's my book. Hi. I'm so proud of this. My first book. And you can purchase it on Amazon. It's still there. It should be either by the book title or by the author's name, Barbara Clemons. That's me. Um, just let me know. And if you can't, I do have some copies that I'm willing to, I can mail to you or send out to you so that you can get on board with that. Or you can contact me at Clemons at CLEMONS 772 at gmail.com. Why are you smiling?
because when you were spelling it, I thought about what you always say: "See lemons,
Uh-huh.
see
Yeah.
lemons."
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be happy to if you need individual, just one on one, I can work with you with putting an interactive notebook together as well and get that started before school starts, so you'll be ready. Or in a group session, just say contact me and we'll get together. If you want to contact Mr. Stubblefield and he can let me know, we can work something out and we can get you started.
Yes, ma'am. And her information will also be on our website at wdsi.us. Once again, her information will also be on our website at wdsi, where we do simple innovations dot us. And that's all the time we got for today. So bye and peace. See you guys next time.
Bye. Reach
All right.
one to teach one, don't forget. Oh, what's that saying? She was saying moving toward growth and greatness always.
moving
moving
towards
toward growth and
greatness.
greatness. Always.
I love it. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Your Favorite Teacher's Favorite Teacher podcast. If you have a story you'd like to share, please contact me at wdstubblefield@wdsi.us. Again, that is wdstubblefield@wdsi.us. And you could be our next inspirational story of how educators impact our lives. I'm your host, Mr. Stubblefield, and I want you to remember, no profession is possible without your favorite teacher.